Hey Jimmy, how's it going?
Hey, Veronica, it's so good to see you.
Yeah.
How are you?
Good, I'm good. How are
Good.
you?
Doing well. Like it's been a good start to the year. An adjustment. Loving it. Loving it. Good feedback. Worked out a few kinks, but so far so good.
Yeah, I want to know a little bit about the kinks or the adjustments.
Well, it's just, I teach fourth grade. And so kids are just, the classroom looks different. There's so much novelty there. There's so many, they all want to get in. They want to see the chairs. They want to spin. They want to move the tables. We don't have cabinets. Where do we put 44 boxes of tissues? So, but like in the big scheme of things, we can figure all of those out. But we had talked about plans and systems, but then you get there and some of the systems don't work quite as you thought they would. And then there's things that you didn't think about creating a system for that I'll know next year.
Yeah. Well, so either out of that or something else, what are some celebrations that you have?
So a celebration, I think one would be like the feedback from the parents at the back to school time when parents came in. They were over the moon about just the way the classroom looked, and it made me feel really good because we'd worked so hard in choosing the things, getting them there, arranging it, and it made me feel good to see how excited that the parents and kids were about the room. So that was definitely a celebration. Sweet group of kiddos. Made it through. Like we're coming up on week 2.
Yeah.
So that's a celebration.
Awesome. Well, let's talk about that unit that you started, the one about like perspective or
Sure,
getting ready
character
to
point of
start
view.
that. Yeah.
So I'm probably still about a week away from that.
Okay.
We're still trying to get some writing journals, some other things set up. But I do want to talk through that because it's not fully fleshed out yet. We've got some good ideas, but I don't quite have clarity because I want to do. We've done this every year. It's something that kids struggle with, character point of view, and so like I would like to take what we did last year and renew and refresh it so that it's even better this year.
Okay. So when you look at the blueprint, which one of those areas do you feel like you're needing some help in?
So I think I have a pretty clear vision for what I would like to come out of it.
Okay.
And I think in terms of the vision for linking into a profile of a learner, I think perspective taking feeds into profile of a learner, like being able to consider things from someone else's point of view.
Right.
So that links into this so that it's not just a literacy skill but also a social skill. So I feel like there's always more to consider here, but I feel like really the one I want to talk through, spend some time on, is prepare.
Okay.
Because what can I do now up front? Because like I said, we're not going to begin this for a week. That'll make sure that this unit runs really well. Because it's kind of the first one out of the gate, isn't it?
Yeah. That's kind of exciting, huh?
It is.
Okay, so within prepare, I'm thinking about like which of these specifically are you wanting help in? Is it like standards, resources?
So let's talk through those. And I like the way you have this organized because it's easy to like go through that. So with standards, I feel like I understand the fourth grade standards pretty well for what students need to know for point of view. Resources, I know what I used last year, and so I have some, but I don't want to only use those. So that might be something, just talking through what resources are the best. I like this third one, consider time and space configurations. Now that we do have this new room, how can it be the third teacher in the classroom? Like how can I really take advantage of the fact that my tables and chairs move easily? And so especially with point of view, it's possible that the movement of the classroom can support the changes in taking, I'm not explaining it very well, but I'm wondering if that can support content in a neat way.
Okay. And an assessment, how you feeling in that category?
That's a really good question. So I have the assessment that was built at the end of the year for this, last year when we did this, and it's just a piece of text with paper pencil, kind of star formatted.
Yeah.
And it's there and it's clear and it's clearly aligned to the TEKS, but it certainly isn't authentic to the type of instruction I'd like to do. So I'm wondering if there's some like checkpoints I could build along the way that might be more performance based. And still at the end, it's not a long assessment, it's just one passage, and maybe keep that but add some more creative and unique, authentic formative assessments along the way.
Okay. And I'm guessing you may have a student or two with the 504 and
We
IEP?
do, yes, several,
Okay.
as a matter of fact.
Okay. So if we go into the eStudio now, and we look in under Grow, and we look at our best practices of those, some that are standing out to me. One in specific is differentiation. So like we talked about assessment, you wanting to do something a little different with that. You talked about the planning of, and you mentioned the tool that you used last year was kind of a mentor text. I think you mentioned that to me when you were starting to plan that text, and you were wanting some different things. So of those, do you feel like that's a comfortable target to kind of hit? Or?
So I like that you've talked about assessment, because that reminds me that one critical piece is the development of a pre-assessment, and I'm wondering, as you're talking about differentiation, if part of that pre-assessment could also be a short interest. Are there some ways that they do like to show what they know? And maybe that'll help me plan and differentiate what we're going to do in the unit.
And help you build relationships with your
Yes.
students too. That's great. So, do you want to try to go in with differentiation or assessment? What are you feeling?
Yeah, let's start with differentiation.
Okay. All right. So, can you go through here and decide kind of, where do you feel you are? What's your reality as regards to where you're currently differentiating within this unit?
Clarifying question on this. So
Okay.
it says differentiation, designs general topic, resources, and learning experiences. So in general, if I feel like I know how to do this, I put a check?
Or we could drill it down specifically to the unit, because maybe it's just, for me when I look at this, like, we know you've been trained on DI and all of that, but like me in the classroom, I don't necessarily think that I did this well with everything. So, I don't know. How do you want to approach that? Do you want to do it based off of your needs?
So let's flip through and look at this. So there's performance indicators, initiating progress. Oh, I see. So this is a level 1.
Yes.
This is a level 2.
Yes.
That's a level 3. And this is 4.
Knowing you want to be a 4.
So let's look at 4. Designs diverse, standard aligned resources and learning experience for varying ability levels of learners. So I'll say on that, like I aspire to that. I don't know if that happens all the time. So I don't think I feel quite confident checking a 4. A 4 to me seems like, oh yeah, got that.
Yeah.
When I go to 3, design standard aligned resources and learning experiences for varying levels of ability and learners. Are those about the same?
Those are very much the same. The only thing that looks different, design standards.
Oh, this says diverse.
Diverse, yes.
So let's go to 2.
Okay.
Design standard aligned resources and learning experiences. So I think I do more than that. That sounds like whole group.
Okay.
This sounds like it's some, and this sounds like it's all the time. So I think a 3 here.
Okay.
Is that okay? Am I doing this correctly?
Yes, you are.
So the next one is design standard aligned resources and learning experiences based on learning styles. The 2 designs opportunities for learners to self-assess their learning styles. So when it says learning styles, what exactly is meant by that?
So to me, I think about, like it could be a couple of things. It could be multiple intelligences, or it could be, are they kinesthetic, visual, auditory, and you talked about taking an inventory as well on what the students like to do, how they like to learn.
So I think a 2 here.
Okay.
I think sometimes I just make assumptions without necessarily drilling into that.
Okay.
Organizes resources by standard as opposed to organizes resources by standard and rigor. Does this mean to organize resources for students?
Yes. So organize resources by standard and rigor for ability levels of all learners, so that you've got your standard, and then so kind of like how we learned when we were going through Design Academy, and we set up our TEAC and then differentiating it there. I'm wondering if that kind of goes along with that. And then something else I kind of want to hit pause here for a second. I should have mentioned was that, do you feel like you have some evidence that you could show those things?
I certainly, like, we're in week 2 of school, so not so much. But over time, definitely have things I could add there.
But I walked in last week and you were doing a student inventory that was asking them about their learning style. So I don't know. I think we could add that one there for that particular component.
So on this, does there need to be evidence added here in order to check this?
Yes, and we don't have to do it right at this moment, but yeah, we'll do that. And then, so like keep going through, and it's okay that you have them in differing areas because we can just, pull an average.
Okay, so this organized resources by standard and rigor as opposed to designs. Well, I don't think I have a management system of all of this. I think maybe here. This last one facilitates opportunities for individualized learning through small group. Yeah, I think I do have different things going on. Again, this is learners create and lead. I'm not there yet, so I'm thinking here.
Okay. Yeah, and I think you could definitely provide some evidence from what you've done. Okay, and so that's your reality. That's where you are. And so let's look at where we want to go. So do you want to? We want to shoot for 4, right? And you're really almost there. Within. So this one was an area: design opportunities for learners to self-assess, and then moving up here, standard resources and learning experiences based on their learning styles.
Like that one, I'm going to have to give some thought to because, I'm wondering how often that should be done. That's why when it said a system, I don't think I have a system.
Okay.
So that I think is going to take some thought on my part to come up with. How often should it be? Would I give the exact same thing over and over again? Might it be I don't know. I don't know.
Okay. So let's look at next. We've talked about what your reality is. Let's look at what are some obstacles to allowing you to, move up to where you want to be. So I'm wondering, do you want to go here or do we want to go? I mean, this is where you are with the exception of that one. Let's just go here and say, if you were to do a switch from what currently is happening in your room that you feel to how you would like it to be, how would you actualize this? That might help you come up with some ideas.
Okay, that's a good question. So like this first one designs diverse, standard-aligned resources and learning experiences for varying levels. So this is the diverse piece that was different from the other. So my wondering here is this is just a gradual nudge or push from like I frequently do where the kids have varying text. So I feel like I'm perhaps differentiating by process, but then at the end still expecting everyone to turn in the same product. So maybe it's closing out updates. It's kind of thinking outside the box for some ideas here for things that are more than what I always do. Or things that, and when I look at that by diverse, I'm wondering also if that, I'm thinking of things that I usually do, but I'm wondering if it's diverse also as student-facing, things that they don't, like adding some novelty there. They've done posters, they've done puzzles, they've done presentations, but this multiple perspective, like are there some unique tech tools that maybe can change their voice, can change their appearance, that could add in something there that could take it up then
from
it's
where it is.
Yes. So like looking at some novelty.
So read this one next.
Designs and utilize a management system for organizing resources.
Based on their learning styles.
And levels that includes ways for learners to contribute to and vet resources. So that's nice because as we're talking about potentially adding some diverse tech tools, I would like to know feedback from kids, especially since I'm working with 3 classes. If the first class is like, oh, Seesaw works really well or doesn't, like that's helpful. So maybe the system is like user review kind of things. That's a nice idea.
Yeah, and having the kids contribute and create and think of those tools on their own.
And that also helps them kind of take some ownership. That's good.
So what kind of questioning scaffolding could you create to get them to be able to do that?
I don't know. I'd have to come up like I think at this point, potentially involving students and coming up with what might that management system be. Like I may come up with some basic framework for it, but having them decide if they
like that one.
Right.
You want to get some student
I
feedback.
I do.
Okay. Do you want, or do you have some already ideas kind of percolating in your head about systems that
Well,
could
we
work
just
through
talked
that?
about this for 5 minutes. So other than the one that we mentioned about having a board, like a physical board in the room, I don't have anything yet. But
Okay.
but that board idea could be a online board or it could be a physical board. But I was something with that. I don't.
Okay.
I guess it could be a Google form that kids fill out and goes to a spreadsheet. But I'm thinking of what would be accessible to them.
Yeah.
So I am kind of going to maybe a place over there in the corner of the room that's just show what you know options, and kids put their ideas up there with here's why Seesaw is good, here's why this is good, here's why this is good.
Okay. Yeah. And then let's look at, I think this one was the one that you were, designs opportunities for learners to self-assess, and then this one is designs diverse standards aligned resources. This one is varying ability, and this one is varying learning styles. So to me, those fit pretty close together. So you feel like there's not really an obstacle standing in the way of that so much for you. Okay. And then opportunities for learners to create and lead small group. What about that?
Where is that?
The last one. So that they would be. So you talked about how you lead small group really well.
So again, if we stick with the same idea of having the board, then if a child was like, oh, I do want to use Seesaw, they could look up on the board and go, oh, Amy Legou's an expert at that, and Amy Legou could then lead the workshop on that resource.
Okay.
So I'm wondering if those workshops are, like if it's all could be linked together in some way.
It's like I'm hearing you say that you would even maybe have like another poster on that board of student experts that like self-profess. Oh, I like that idea a lot. That's awesome. Okay, well, it sounds like we've talked through some of your obstacles. So, what are you willing to go and try out? What do you want to do at this point?
Think through the board idea for resources, and taking it back to the specific unit that we're doing on perspective, character perspective, multiple perspectives. Thinking through how to link that into this specific unit. Okay, and so it's going to take some think time, and I'd appreciate your help as a thought partner in that. But that's where I'd like to go.
Okay. And then the last thing is to think about the type of evidence that you
want either a picture of the actual board, or a video clip of one of the kids talking about sharing their resource. So it's about process and product. Okay. Because the product would be the child using it, but the process would be how do we develop this resource, this classroom resource of resources. So that's kind of a process piece.
Okay, so like I'm already thinking of some ideas for the board, and then like I'm thinking, do we want to like make a time where I can come back and we can just work on what we're going to do for that board?
Yes.
And come up with that. And
yes, I would love that. I would love your help. I really would.
And I want to just give some praise here. I think you were a little bit hard on yourself as we went through this. I think you were already doing this and this and this. It was just a little tweak of this one and a little tweak of here, so I think you're going to reach your goal pretty quickly.
You. I appreciate that. That's nice to hear.
Woohoo!